Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, passion for excellence.
Here are today's top headlines. More news on the U.S. cars program, GM might start selling Volt technology, and what controversy has Top Gear caused now? Up next, we'll be back with the news behind the headlines. This is Autoline Daily for Friday, August 14th, 2009. And now the news. A few more details on the Volkswagen-Porsche deal. The merger ends a 4-year battle for control of Volkswagen that led Porsche to amass about $14.2 billion in debt as it accumulated 51% of Volkswagen stock. According to the New York Times, the other players in the transaction include the Emirate of Qatar, which could become the third largest shareholder if it exercises options on the first shareholder in the company's history outside of the Porsche and Piech families to hold voting rights. Also, the German state of Lower Saxony has veto power over major company decisions. It has roughly a 20% stake in VW. The merger aims to increase annual operating profit by about $1 billion and boost in combined vehicle sales to 6.3 million units per year. Yesterday, we reported that the cash-for-clunkers program might be changed to allow customers to receive a voucher for vehicles that aren't on dealer lots. According to the Detroit News, the U.S. Department of Transportation yesterday expanded the program to include this clause. Previously, customers could only buy what was on the lot. Lawmakers pushing the proposal argued that the program caused a reduction in fuel-efficient vehicle availability, and low production levels made it hard to replenish inventories. Foreign automakers with large stocks on hand were opposed to the change and have argued that it could lead to confusion and fraud. In Chevy Volt news, Wards reports that GM may sell the car's lithium-ion battery pack to rival automakers. The plan sounds like a good revenue source for the recently bankrupt automaker, but company CEO Fritz Henderson says he doesn't see it as a large source of revenue. But that may be a moot point because sharing batteries directly could be difficult. The Volts 16-kilowatt lithium-ion battery pack is a proprietary design that's shaped like a T and probably won't fit in many other vehicles. A bankruptcy judge is allowing those owed money by the old Chrysler to sue Daimler, claiming the German automaker diverted $9 billion from Chrysler 2 years ago. According to the Detroit Free Press, Chrysler's unsecured creditors allege Daimler stripped Chrysler of its most valuable assets when it was sold to Cerberus in 2007. The suit has to be filed before August 18th and can be done on Chrysler's behalf, but they can't use money received from the bailout. You may have seen spy photos and a video of a Porsche Shooting Brake. They were all over the internet. But don't get your hopes up for a new model from the German sports car maker. The New York Times reports the vehicle's a hoax. You can blame the recently unemployed staff of TopGear.com America for all the commotion. Coming up next, my thoughts on future classics. We'll be right back after this.
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry.
Bridgestone.
This weekend marks the annual Grand Slam for American car enthusiasts, with the 49th annual Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance on the Monterey Peninsula this Sunday, and the 15th annual Woodward Dream Cruise that runs from Detroit to Pontiac along historic Woodward Avenue in southeastern Michigan tomorrow. Both events draw enthusiasts from all over the country, as well as some of the most beautiful, powerful, and historically significant cars you'll ever see. With all this now legendary sheet metal on display, it makes me wonder which of today's cars will take center stage, as it were, at Pebble and on Woodward in, say, 30 years. Today we'll talk about Pebble. Certainly we should expect to see some low-volume sports cars on the green at the 2039 Pebble Beach Concours. BMW's spectacular Z8 Roadster is pretty much a given. Sold in the U.S. from 2000 to 2006, the Z8 is essentially the drivetrain of an M5 placed in an all-aluminum two-seat Roadster that successfully channeled the spirit of the rare 1956 to 59 BMW 507 into a really modern sports car. With a leather-trimmed interior that's perfectly integrated with its gorgeous sheet metal outside, it's tough to refute the fact that the Z8 is one of the prettiest cars to come from BMW in over 3 decades. Another shoe-in for premier concours status in 30 years hence is the Mercedes-Benz SLR McLaren. A product of a partnership between Mercedes and McLaren Automotive, the SLR is a 21st century high-tech take on a traditional high-performance GT car like a Ferrari 250 GT Lusso or a classic Aston Martin. The front-engine rear-drive configuration, along with the amusing placement of the car's entire exhaust system, including the catalytic converters ahead of the driver's compartment, gives the SLR its distinctive long dash-to-axle proportion. Produced in limited quantities by Formula One constructor McLaren for Mercedes-Benz and carrying an original price well over 3 times that of a Mercedes SL, the SLR has Pebble Beach written large in its future. The final two machines that should be at the Monterey Concours in August of 2039 are both from Motown car makers. Perhaps the pinnacle of Ford's postmodern heritage bin of the late 90s and early 21st century was the supercharged mid-engine Ford GT. Making good on an unfulfilled promise born of the company's original racing effort to kick Ferrari's butt at the 24 Hours of Le Mans endurance race in the mid-60s, Ford finally built a volume sports car that brought V8 mid-engine performance to the masses. Well, for the masses that had $139,995 to blow on a car at least. The midship engine puts the power plant's Lysholm supercharger just about at ear level, no more than 10 inches behind the driver's head. The 5.4-liter V8 generated an astounding soundtrack for the occupants whenever the throttle was used with vigor. That 550 horsepower engine could push the Ford GT to an electronically limited speed of 205 miles per hour. With 3,596 sold in the United States, the car's future exclusivity is assured, and along with it, its place at the Concours. Our final car for the 2039 Pebble Beach event is perhaps the antithesis of the Ford GT in many ways. When Pontiac first unveiled its Solstice sports car as a concept at the 2004 North American International Auto Show, it was displayed as both a roadster and as a fastback coupe. Just as the General was winding down Pontiac's 83-year run, it introduced a coupe version of the Solstice. With 260 horsepower on tap, along with nimble handling, the fastback Solstice is a great drive for a mere pittance. Well, pittance by Z8 SLR and Ford GT standards. Styling, while considered Zoftig by some, is distinctive and very sporty. The fixed roof is a far more aesthetically pleasing solution than the Roadster's clumsy buttressed soft top. What with Pontiac joining Oldsmobile, Geo, LaSalle, Viking, and Marquette in the broom closet of GM's defunct brands, the Solstice gained stature as a high watermark for the nameplate in its last decade. By its very timing and its place in the market, the 2009 Solstice GXP Coupe is all but guaranteed a place at Pebble in the future. Well, that's some of what I think we're going to be seeing at Pebble in 2039. On Monday, John will be back in the anchor chair, but I'll be here, in voice only, bringing you part 2 of my thoughts on some of today's cars and what I think we'll be seeing 30 years down the road, this time on Woodward Avenue for the Dream Cruise. And that's it for today's top news in the global automotive industry. Thanks for watching, and have a great weekend.